Thanks.
Thanks, Seb. Over to another Seb. Thanks very much for the introduction. I hope you can see a presentation now, looking all like standard presentation mode. Great. Well, it's really great to be here and in the celebration of SOOS after 10 years. Can't believe it's been already so long and yet it's gone so quickly. And I'm really very honored to be able to be here today and to present, and thank Louise and Alice for asking me to present on something around personal career growth and support from within SOOS. And so I just wanted to say, it's a great celebration of SOOS, the happiest of birthdays to SOOS. And of course, as many have said before me, we really need to doff our hats off to some very specific people who have made SOOS really what it is today. In particular, of course, Louise Newman for all her endless energy and drive to keep going, SOOS going in the direction that it has gone. Of course, then there was Pip Brischer with all the data and the management and always her positive energy towards the subject. And then Alice Hancock, and congratulations for the new position and wishing you all the best for the future role in SOOS. So I had to really think hard about, well, what was I going to try and bring across in this presentation? And it's not so easy, of all the different elements that SOOS could contribute to one's career and growth in general. But I thought about it a little bit, and I thought of two aspects that are very specific to SOOS. The one is the unique community. And what I mean by that is that I think it's a really wonderful community because we share sort of very common goals. We really have a passion in our work for the Southern Ocean, no matter what field we're in and what work we do. And we work in this very unique environment, this very harsh and rough area that we all endeavor to get more data and information from to broaden the knowledge of the Southern Ocean and its role globally. And then secondly is, of course, the people. The people within SOOS is very unique as well. And SOOS has such high regard that it really does attract the best people and the best experts around the world to come to SOOS and to contribute to SOOS, whether it's in the steering committee or in working groups or in other task teams. It really does bring the best and the most passionate people to the forefront. And just this photo is one example of, the experts in the room. This is the first steering committee meeting I went to in Shanghai in 2013. And, you can just see on this photo here, all these very high regarded scientists, very special people. Angelica Brandt, Anna Wallin, Steve Ackley, I can't go through all of them, but Mauricio Mata, Oscar, Mike Meredith, Andrew Constable, Dan, and then here on my right shoulder, Alberto Garabato. And you might see me here with a smiley face and looking very happy for the photo, but deep inside there was waves of anguish and terror at being thrust into this community. As a very young researcher in those days, I was essentially transitioning from a postdoc in South Africa to a researcher position with the CSIR and the SOCO group. And so being, looking at these experts above me was extremely terrifying. And of course, a lot of imposter syndrome was being had in these very first meetings where I felt very inexperienced. And how was I going to contribute to SOOS? And especially, one has to look up at people like Oscar Schofield, and here in his dashing photo in the trailer Beyond the Ice, to sort of make the comparison of me with almost pimple face still all the way through to someone like Oscar and the incredible work that he and all these others have done. And so it was really through this community, these special people and these experts, that career growth was really at play here, because they could really teach me so much over the years, since back in 2012 onwards, all these different lessons within SOOS. And here, this grainy photo, sorry about the quality, but it's an important one, because here is just a quick selfie of Louise Newman and Andrew Constable and I having breakfast. And we would often have these morning meetings when we were co-chair. So I had Andrew as my partner in crime here as co-chair of SOOS. And we would have these meetings before the steering committee meeting would start, where we would really try and talk about what's the agenda, what are the main things that we're going to try and push forward and achieve in the day. And this is really, really puts a great feeling of sort of the lesson that I was being learned along the way from all these great people, and about how the way to think and how to move things that are important forward for such a thing like an observing system in the Southern Ocean. And if this wasn't enough to break the ice over tea or coffee or breakfast in the mornings, well then I was very fortunate to have some of these very unique experiences. And well, here is probably the most unique one in my career in SOOS. Shanghai 2013, and I managed to convince Ed Butler here from New Zealand, and of course the famous Dan Costa, seal biologist extraordinaire, to come join me to do hot power yoga in Shanghai. And if these can't break down barriers for a young PI or a young researcher within SOOS, an armpit full of nice hot yoga sweat or something, then nothing will. But it's these sort of experiences that allowed me to kind of start to relax and get into the role of SOOS and get to know that these are great people and eventually, of course, great friends. And then there were the beautiful places, and not just about the beautiful places that we managed to visit in our meetings, but of course meeting all the people that actually make up the entire Southern Ocean community. From China, Korea, to South America, to the US, all over the place. You could really learn from the types of communities that were dealing with different issues around how to observe in the Southern Ocean and how to collect observations efficiently, how to share data, etc., etc. So it was also about the broader community, which will have sort of a never-ending influence on me. And that eventually, really allowed me to feel like, okay, I can do this. I could be co-chair and I can present these grand ideas that are made from the SOOS community to other audiences and discuss them. And here an example from the Polar 2018 meeting in Davos, talking about SOOS at one of the plenaries. And then, SOOS is really such a respected place that kind of this leads to recognition and access to some of these very unique circumstances. And here is just one example at COP25 in Madrid, where I managed to go and attend the meetings there, and of course with these very delicate and very interesting discussions that are being had that cross the political to academic to societal spectrums. So that was really very, very interesting and unique experiences. And then of course, last but not least, the friends that I've made along the way. Here's a pic of us in Tromsø at our SSC meeting many years ago. And so we have Anna Wallin and Angelica Brandt and of course Louise Newman. And Anna Wallin in these meetings eventually led to me moving to Sweden and having my new career here in Sweden, which started 5 years ago already. And so it's of course with really a heartfelt thank you to all those in the SOOS community that made significant contributions to my career and many others through all the fun times, the very interesting and important discussions and experiences. And in particular, I think two people are Louise Newman and Andrew Constable, which really imprinted something onto me, learning how they do this stuff in SOOS, and that's something that I will take forward for many years to come. Thank you so much.